Today on Real Pilates, we're going to talk about your hips, Elvis, the pelvis. We're going to talk about those hip bones. So the hip bones are really three bones that are fused together, the ilium, the ischium, and the pubis bone that fuse together after you're born. By the time you're 5 and 6, those bones fuse together. So you have three on this side, three on that side. And when they fuse, they each make a socket, one over here and one over there. In that socket called the acetabulum, baby, your leg bone, that thigh bone, is inserted. Not everyone has that thigh bone inserted at the same depth. Some people's are a little bit more shallow, some people a little bit more deep, some people have their thigh bone set a little closer, some a little further. We're all little snowflakes. There's nothing wrong with any of it. So whatever setting you were given at birth, that will not change unless you have like a blunt force trauma or you wear incorrectly and then you need a hip replacement, but you won't, because that's not happening to us. But that thigh bone that is inserted deep inside of you has on the either side of the leg bones, in the back, there's your sacroiliac joint. So you have three bones here that are fused. And in the front, there's a little pubic washer, the symphysis pubis, that connects it. In the back, you have that sacroiliac joint, which looks like a little heart, which is really the little fused tails that we used to have, those last fused vertebrae that are under the lumbar. And then the spine sits in that, on top of the sacroiliac joint. So your spine is sitting on top of that pelvis, and then the leg bones hang from there. So what holds that leg bone in are all these different ligaments that are holding it inside the socket. But when you stand, that thigh bone comes out a little bit and the front of it is not deep inside like it was when you were seated. For you to have that bone deeply inserted, you need to come on all fours. And don't we do stuff on all fours? And there's a reason for that. And so that kind of stimulates all the ligaments in there and gets all the synovial fluid going and keeps everything in the right ranges. You want to have all those ligaments strong and firm and tight, not too loose. This is why that passive stretching, where you get in a position that you push and you push, is so bad for so many reasons. You know, you hear me say that all the time. The ligaments that hold you in there are so many. There's the transverse acetabulum ligament, the iliofemoral ligament, there's the ischiofemoral ligament, the pubofemoral ligament. All of those ligaments need to be kept in the correct length. And when you're seated, the easiest position for you to be at when you're seated is that your knee is at the same height as the hip and the knee is slightly open. That there puts that hip joint at rest. So right now, can you see that I'm seated here and my knee is lower than my hip? That puts stress on the hip actual socket, and then that tends to distort the actual placement of the pelvis. So as I sit here, that you can't see, I have my foam roller and I bring my feet up. Can you see how I'm sitting in a better position? Because I'm a little short Lilliput. So we're going to talk about more things that you can do to keep this angle in a better stress level when you're just out and about and doing stuff, so that you don't stress your sockets without any need. If you can avoid it, why? Why stress it? When we're working in class, you'll notice that the change of position is always going to affect the change of muscle group and the sequence in which the muscle group is recruited. So there's A, B, C, D, and then maybe we need to do F, G, R, Q, so that we start to wake up the submissive little parts and kind of tone down the hyperactive dominant parts. And so this is really a little piece behind the scenes of what happens in every class. This is Pilates Master Nikki, and I'll see you in class.